What is up, PC superstars, and how are you all doing? I am hoping that you guys are going to have, or are actually already having, a perfect day and night. Now, I know perfect seems like it's out of the reach, but I want you guys to have as close to possible as perfect as it can be, if that made any sense whatsoever. So let's start off by doing the wing review for each and every single class card issued. Now for druids, we have Enchanted Raven. It's a 1 mana cost drop 2/2. I think out of 10 the impact it will have on standard is probably 8 out of 10. This card is a must have. It's early game pressure and it's a 2/2. Not many 1 drops or 2 drops could even compare to it, and it could easily counter, if not all 2 drops, many of the 2 drops available that any class has or are neutral. So in my opinion, this is going to definitely impact standard, and the impact it will have is an 8 out of 10, meaning that not every single deck will run it, but a majority of the druid decks will definitely take it into consideration and definitely want to run this very powerful 1 mana cost card. Now for hunters, we have Cloaked Huntress. Basically, if you have secrets in hand, they make it cost 0 mana. Now I think this will definitely have an impact on standard. In my opinion, if we have to rate this out of 10, it will be an 8.5. I think a majority of the hunters, if not all of the hunters, would love to actually have this. The only downside to it is that you're gonna have to draw the secrets and keep them in your hand and wait till you draw into this card to play it and then have the full combo in effect. It reminds me of the mage card that actually makes your secrets cost 0 this turn, which is pretty much awesome. But I'm also positive that if you have this guy on the board and you draw into your secrets, it will cost 0 mana anyways. But regardless, it's a 3 mana 3/4, which is an excellent body for a 3 mana drop, and it definitely allows hunters to run secrets again to their full potential. It's an excellent 3 mana drop card, and my opinion is that it will have an 8.5 out of 10 impact, which means that most hunters will run it. Maybe not aggro hunter, if that even exists anymore, but most hunters will definitely run this card without a doubt. Now let's go on to the mage card. Now the mage card is Fireland's Portal. Basically deal 5 damage, summon a random 5 cost minion. It's lower than a fireball. It's actually costing 3 mana more than a fireball, and it does 1 damage less. But the important fact that this card has is that it summons a random 5 cost minion. Now the impact this will have on standard, to me, is more like a 6 out of 10. I don't think many classes will actually run it. Well, not many classes, but many mage decks will actually run it. If there is any mage deck in general that I think will run it, is the YOGSCASTLewis deck, because it does revolve around RNG, and this is a great RNG card. But besides that, I don't think many mage decks will actually look towards running it. Now if you're playing a free-to-play deck, then this is definitely a card that you want to have in that deck, because it helps out with your 5 mana drops, and it definitely does 5 damage, which definitely could help you either kill your opponent or bring him down. And you can combo it with a Frostbolt for 8 damage overall, or you can even clear a minion. So that is one of the reasons why I don't want to say it will have no impact. It will have an impact, but it won't be mandatory, and it won't have as great of an impact as the prior 2 cards. So that is my opinion on that. 6.5 out of 10, not mandatory, but will definitely have an impact on standard. Let's go to the Paladin class now. It's an Ivory Knight. And basically the battle cry is, it discovers a spell, restore health to your hero equal to its cost. Now this, out of a 10, I'm going to call it a 4. 4 out of a 10, not going to have too much of an impact on standard. Why? It's a 6 mana cost card that has a body of a 4 for it. That is horrible, especially paying 6 mana for it and then getting a 4/4 from it. I know you get a heal and everything, but there are many paladin spells and minions that they do have that actually allow them to heal for a bunch. So this, in my opinion, is not really needed. The only bonus or real important factor that it has is that it discovers a spell, and that's the only real positive to it. And maybe that the spell might be higher costing, so it'll restore more health to you, but besides that, it definitely will not have such strong of an impact, or it won't have such of a strong impact on standard. That's why I'm calling it at 4 out of 10. It's not mandatory. Not many paladin classes will use it in my opinion, and if anybody uses it, it's probably just for fun or testing it out in general. Now the priest card we have already done. We did it with the priest challenge, so you guys could definitely go check that out, and all you have to do is click on my channel to go and check it out. Now for rogue, you get deadly fork. So basically what it does is adds a 3/2 weapon to your hand. Now out of 10, I want to rate this as a 6.5, maybe a 6. I'm actually gonna go with a 6. The reason I'm going with a 6 is that's a 3 mana cost card. Its body is a 3/2. Yes, the weapon is great and it's an awesome weapon, so that is why it might go up to a 6.5, but the minion itself isn't that strong, and it's a death rattle. That's the only way you'll get the weapon, basically by it dying. So if your opponent wants to play around it for a couple of turns, he definitely can. And if he wants to draw into something that will remove your weapon, he definitely can by just playing around it. Once again, it does not have a high health pool, so it's not really going to have that much of an impact. I think in arena this card will be great, as well as most of the cards that we have discussed. If we were talking about the impact on arena, I think all of those cards would have a great impact, and the numbers might be a little bit different, but since we're doing a card review for standard, we are only talking about their impact on standard. But if you guys would like to see card review impact on standard and arena, you guys just have to comment that down below and I'll do it for the next wing. But anyways, let's continue with this. It's a 6 out of 10. Not many rogues will run it, not a lot in my opinion. Maybe some just to fill out the 3 mana cost card and maybe run that death rattle rogue deck, but overall it's not strong and they definitely have better options than this, so I don't think that it will be mandatory, and I don't think that many will actually want to run it at all. So just talking about it makes me want to actually drop it from a 6 to like a 5 or 5.5. So we're gonna go with the 5.5 out of 10. It will not have that strong of an impact. Now the shaman class, we also did it already, and you guys can check that out as well by clicking on the channel and checking out yesterday's upload. Let's go to warlock now. Silverware golem. I think this is excellent for aggro Zulocks, because if they run Soulfire or Succubus, then they definitely have the option of summoning out a 3/3 by just sacrificing 1 mana or 2 mana, but it also runs the risk of you discarding something else. Now in my opinion, it's a 3 mana cost 3/3. Great body for a 3 mana cost card. And impact, I want to say it's gonna be a 6.5 out of 10. Reason it's a 6.5 is not every warlock will want to use this, because not every warlock runs spells or minions that discard cards. But if you are playing Zoo, then this is definitely a card that you're going to take into consideration. Therefore, I'm going to give it a 6.5. Not much else you can say about this card, but if you are able to actually discard it and summon out a 3/3 3 mana cost card for free, it's definitely going to work in your favor. So that's about it with this card. Let's go on to the warrior card now. Now it's called Protect the King, and it says for each enemy minion, summon a 1/1 pawn with taunt. Now to me, that is definitely not going to be too useful in standard. Why? Because the pawns have 1/1 health. Any AoE can pretty much clear them. All you need is a ping, a dagger. There are many spells that can clear it, and Unleash the Hounds counters it. It costs 3 mana, and just costing 3 mana definitely reduces the purpose. Another reason that it reduces the purpose of actually having it is that it's for each enemy minion. So if all of your enemy minions have more than 1 health, then they're pretty much going to clear it without a problem. So the impact this has on standard to me is 1 out of 10. This will not have an impact at all, and I doubt anybody is really going to be using it in arena. It's basically a pretty worthless card in my opinion. It's a 3 mana cost card, which is very high for something as useless as 1/1 pawns with taunt for each enemy minion which is definitely going to get countered by the enemy minions anyways if the enemy minions have more than 1 health in general. But it could also work to delay the game until you find a good AoE to maybe remove the enemy minions. But overall, I don't think this will have a impact on standard at all. And now let's go to the neutral cards here. Now 4 neutral cards came out. We're going to start off with the 1 mana cost card. It says whenever you cast a spell, give this minion +1 health. It's a 2/1 drop. Impact on standard, I'm going to say 3 out of 10. I don't think many cards will run it, or many decks will run it. Doesn't seem that useful unless you're running a high spell deck and you don't have really too many early minions. I don't think there is many decks out there that don't have a stronger 1 mana cost minion than this. So overall, maybe if you're playing a really aggressive warlock deck, then yeah, but the fact that it gives 1 health instead of attack makes it not that useful. So I'm actually gonna change it from a 3 out of 10 and make it a 1 out of 10, just like the word. Well, it's not that bad, so I want to say a 2 out of 10 in terms of impact on standard. If you're running a free-to-play deck, then yeah, you could definitely substitute this in for a 1 mana drop card if you need it. And if you run low mana cost spells, then it will definitely benefit you at the end. So it could benefit some decks, but for the majority of the decks, it's not going to benefit. If it benefits any percentage of decks, it would probably be like 5%. I don't think it'll have that great of an impact. Now let's go to the legendary. Now the legendary is Moros. I don't know if I'm saying it right correctly, but basically it's a stealth minion 1/1 that at the end of your turn summons a 1/1 steward. Now I don't know what a 1/1 steward is, but considering the fact that this is a 1/1 and at the end of the turn it's gonna summon a 1/1 steward, makes me feel like just costing 3 mana and it being a 1/1, it's completely worthless. Even if it is just summoning out stewards, the fact that the steward is a 1/1 makes this card worthless to me. I don't know exactly why you would use it at all. If we have to decide on the number it has out of 10 on impact on standard, on what I believe, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be a 1 out of 10. I don't think this will impact any deck in general. Even if you are a free-to-play deck, I don't think you would even want to use this card, because you're basically getting 2 1/1s for the price of 3 mana, which definitely doesn't sound right. And there are many other 3 mana cost drops that definitely smoke this guy in my opinion. But let's continue on. The next one is a Pantry Spider. So you're basically getting for 3 mana 2 1/3s. And this, in my opinion, out of 10 is probably a 2 out of 10. I don't even really see it getting any action in standard, probably in arena, but in standard it's definitely not getting any action at all, because there are a bunch of 3 mana cost cards that are 10 times better than this and the previous legendary. So yeah, that is my opinion on this. I don't even think of any deck that would even use this except for maybe a hunter, just for the fact that it summons out a beast and that could benefit them. But that's probably the only reason it's not a 1 out of 10, because a hunter could benefit from it just because it is a beast, but they have a bunch of 3 mana cost drops that will beat this guy any day. So maybe if you're a free to play and you don't have that many 3 mana cost cards that are beasts, then you might take this into consideration. But besides that, then no, I don't see it having any impact at all. The final card that we are reviewing is called an Arcano Smith, and it basically summons an 0/5 minion with taunt for 4 mana. It's a 3/2. Impact on standard, again, I'm gonna say it's probably a 1 out of 10 to a 2 out of 10. Yes, the 0/5 is great because it does prevent you from getting attacked or any of your minions getting removed off the board. But the fact that it has 0 attack is really gonna end up hurting you at the end, because you're gonna eventually have to trade your minions into their minions to basically get rid of the board, or they're just gonna roll through your taunt and still manage a way to clear your minions and pretty much beat you with it. And the fact that it's a 4 mana cost card and the body is a 3/2, maybe if it would have been a 3/3, it would have gotten like a 3 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. It would have been a little bit better. But the battle cry is just summon an 0/5 minion with taunt. That's not strong at all. And it being a 3/2, it could die to any AoE, so you run that risk anyways. And overall, I just don't think this will have an impact. I don't see any deck actually using this either. There are too many 4 mana cost cards that will actually beat this guy any day. So no, I don't think it'll have an impact. Probably 2 out of 10. And that's giving it a high number. I think honestly, out of 10, this probably has I wouldn't want to say the lowest, because the lowest would have to be probably that legendary or another card that I've seen. But out of 10, I'm just going to give this guy, let's go with the 1 out of 10. That's my final decision. I don't think it's going to have that much of an impact. Maybe if you're a class that wants to hide behind taunts and until you develop the right cards, then yeah, this could be an option. So that's the only reason why I'm feeling like I could give 1 point back to this. But overall, I just don't think I can. It's going to be a 1 out of 10. And with that, we finish our wing card review. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now I want to say this is just my opinion on these cards. These cards could be great, and all the numbers I have just said, they could be wrong. You guys are basically listening to what I feel will impact the game. If it goes my way, then I'm happy, and if it doesn't, then I'm happy anyways, because at the end of the day, it's my opinion, and if you guys could prove me wrong, then that would be awesome, because it creates great conversation. But anyways, if you like this content, make sure you guys give a thumbs up on the video. If you haven't subscribed already to join PC Superstars, make sure you do by hitting that subscribe button. And as always, guys, have a great day and night. Stay positive, keep on grinding, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace out, PC Superstars.